In the opening days of War 119, forces of the Warden Empire were able to establish a forward position at Fort Barley Relic Base in the colonial region of the Fingers. Supplies for the Wardens ran thin, and they were forced to halt their advance on the higher ground at the northern tip of the strait. They were forced to dig in among the cliffs and defend when the Colonials inevitably counterattacked. Among those cliffs was an untapped oil deposit. The raw resource was nothing more than darkened set dressing at first, and a crucial field hospital was built right next to it. It was when Sievish combat lifesavers began dropping off the critically wounded on the oil deposit, they began to notice something peculiar. They believed a dying soldier would produce a comatose soldier at a higher rate if they died on the oil than if they had died not on the oil. As of this recording, the jury is still out on whether or not this is true. But the important part is the Wardens believed it was. And thus, a death cult was formed around the black mark on the ground. Stories abound of blue and green soldiers alike being brought back to the middle of the oil deposit before dozens of Wardens would ritually walk, crouch, and crawl in a circle around those bleeding out, their red blood spilling into the black beneath them. The Warden's fanaticism to protect this oil spot was unparalleled, and as many lives were spent in reckless charges that came at a high cost of life for the Sievish. But the zealousy did not stop, because each charge produced new wounded who would become new blood sacrifices that would sustain the Wardens with fresh shirts. News spread, with mysterious religious messages appearing in Warden communication channels. And eventually, Foxhole streamer I Saw a Bear, normally a level-headed officer, joined the cult himself. PressCorps Warden correspondent Aiden Fraizer was originally deployed to Fort Barley to report on the bold raid that had managed to break through colonial naval patrols. But what he found was a heart of darkness. He barely escaped with his life, being sacrificed himself, but managing to crawl out of the petroleum. Now, 2 members of this oil cult, the so-called Holy Cult of the Hydrocarbon, sit down with the PressCorps Aiden Fraizer in an exclusive studio interview. To be honest, we could barely keep up with their train of thought. But it was, without a doubt, thoughts of oil.
Hello, I am Aiden Fraizer. I am here with Hellhound 23 and Mass.
Good morning, brothers.
Good evening, brothers. It's a great day for the Holy Hydrocarbon.
Indeed. And the sacred oil field itself.
Amen.
Amen.
During your time at Fort Barley, how did it eventually get started up?
Well, I was once a simple soldier on the front lines fighting for Siva like everyone else, driving the heretical colonials from the sacred lands of Siva. I was unfortunately wounded in the course of my duties, and whilst I was being carried back to a medical area, my comrade discovered that there was no medical to be had in Fort Barley due to the lodge cut, and I saw the oil field and it called to me. I requested that they drop me in the field, I informed them that oil runs in my veins, and from oil I came, and to oil I shall return. They dropped me into the field, and well, I found myself back at the bunker base about 30 seconds later. It was an incredible experience. I came back to the field to find my comrades proclaiming me resurrected. I believe Brother Mass was there for the event.
Indeed, brother. He was the beginning of our prophecy that we must continue to continue spread throughout the Warden faction and purge the heretics that are the colonials from our oil fields. Yet, unfortunately, we have lost that oil field. But in due time,
we will return.
In due time, we will return to holy land of the oil field. And we will
crusade, if you will.
crusade.
All right, on to the next topic of discussion. How did you eventually induct I Saw a Bear into your church?
Well, Brother Bear, he came across us in the course of his duties as a soldier of the Great Warden Empire, and he came across one of our sacred rituals. You see, we were spilling the blood of a foul colonial into the field, and Brother Bear was initially confused before he very quickly saw what was before him as the truth and the light. And he joined us. He came to us as an acolyte, and I must say it was not long before he had been bestowed with the position of oil baron. It was quite the experience. He returned the next day, just full of the spirit and vigor. It was an incredible sight to witness.
All right. Eventually, how did you find my cousin, Aiden Fraizer the First?
Well, Mr. Fraizer, he found me, you could say. I believe it was the will of the field, you know what I mean. He found me as we were conducting a ritual, and I believe he was confused. I believe he found us humorous. He asked for an interview. I believe his intention was simply investigate the origin of our church. But he brought me to the beach, and I spoke to him. I gave him the story of our church. He seemed very moved, I must say. He seemed very moved indeed at the end of that interview. For the rest of the night, he was participating in our rituals. I can only hope that before the end of his life, his spiritual needs fulfilled the holy field. Before, of course, we sacrificed him to the field.
Of course. Everyone always returns to the oil and always returns back stronger and more, ever following of the oil field.
Indeed.
It seems I feel a part of him still inside of me.
Always.
Okay.
He's with all of us.
He's with all of us, and he's in the oil. God bless
Always
you.
Always
As I said,
returns to
the oil turns in the oil runs in our veins.
Burns.
It fuels our hearts.
Allows us to purge the heretics of the green man harder than ever before. Ever since we have found the holy hydrocarbon.
Excepting, of course, the colonials who've seen the way and the light. And then they themselves have joined the Church of the Holy Hydrocarbon.
But only in death.
I hope in one day that they might see not just the way of the hydrocarbon, but that we might sacrifice them to the field.
Only in sacrifice of the holy hydrocarbon do you realize its power.
Indeed.
How does the involvement of the PressCorps, how do you feel about it with your current religion?
I'll hold my answer for now. Brother Mass.
Yes.
Please, go ahead. Tell him how you feel. I know that you feel the spirit of the oil deeper than most.
I feel it's in my very soul, brother. And I understand that some people are not going to take the holy hydrocarbon so vividly as I have made. But I think that everyone should accept the holy hydrocarbon as it is and should be sacrificed to it. Not so much to die for it, but maybe give some of your blood for it. Because
yes, brother. But what about the PressCorps being involved in the church?
The PressCorps. I forgot the question. Apologies.
And your fervor, brother. You were blinded. That's fine. It's all right. I was
blinded.
Return to the question. Return to the question.
Indeed. PressCorps. I think the involvement of the PressCorps, I do believe, is a good thing for us because it allows us to spread our religion to everyone. It allows them to be more interested in it. And In that, we expand the church and we get more people. And more people means more belief in our prophet, the holy hydrocarbon.
I agree. I'm more than happy to have the PressCorps with us. I'm happy to see that some call us crazy, and the PressCorps, you've been more than open to us. We're very happy to have you with us, that we might spread the word, save more souls, and field the oil field more blood. That might, fuel our war machines. We're happy to have you.
Thank
We
you.
hope that one day you might attend our services, even.
Ah. Give me the date and time, and I will be there to document it, of course.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Well, logistically speaking, did you guys start up the cult to, give people morale, to bring back wounded soldiers, to keep your supplies, up?
Well, that was a happy byproduct. You see, we giveth to the field, and the field giveth to us. We brought the wounded to the field, and not just the wounded, but those faithful who would sacrifice their own lifeblood to the field. And one in 3, 40% of, maybe more like 40% of the time, when those brave souls, enemy and warden alike, when they bled out and they gave of themselves to the field, we received in return a critically wounded soldier. And when we returned him to our field hospitals, he was brought to us anew. It seems it wasn't the purpose. The purpose is the field itself. But the field, it knows it's faithful, and the field giveth to us. The field kept us alive on that front for many hours. We survived on nothing. But the shirts from that field.
Okay, so I do have to say I am glad that I got sacrificed. It did help our war goal. Of course, speaking as a PressCorps member, I am completely neutral. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. So,
of course, the PressCorps is 100% neutral. He's been a credit to his profession, I must say.
You feel more emboldened, don't you? You feel stronger, closer to the holy hydrocarbon.
So, were you there when Fort Barley fell?
I wasn't. I'm afraid I was not. I'm afraid that my duties had called me elsewhere. I had to. I had to go to real life. I had a doctor's appointment. But when I returned home and saw that Fort Barley had fell, I wasn't dismayed. For I knew we would return. And I knew that though we weren't on our holy ground, that the field was with us always. I could feel it in my heart and smell it in the exhaust of our war machines. I could see it in the black smoke from our factories producing more war material to drive the colonials from our lands. But no, I wasn't there, and it's a shame. It's a stain on my soul that I wasn't there for the faithful in their time of need. Brother Mass, yourself?
I was also, unfortunately, not there. I do feel dismayed that I was not able to spill my blood for the final time on that holy ground.
But it need not be the final time, brother. It need not be the final time.
The final time of our original crusade.
I see. The first crusade.
The first crusade. But in time, we will be back, and we will strike. But it always has the stain of us being there, and it will never be forgotten. And we will be back stronger than ever.
So, eventually, When will the Second Crusade happen? When is what we all
No.
ask.
No man will know the time or the day. Only that they will know when it comes. They will feel the very ground tremble beneath their feet when our guns begin their bombardment. And they will know the ground is turning when the tracks of our tanks bury them in their trenches. They will hear the roar of our faithful, and they will know that we have returned.
Just like gameplay-wise, how was it? Like, were you enjoying it? I didn't get to shoot many. Actually, I didn't shoot anyone.
It was...
I ran around yapping. It was like, honestly, the best time of my life.
Brother Mass?
I had a fervorous time dragging the bodies of the enemies and friendlies back to the oil field. I did enjoy it. Being able to fight on the front lines with my brethren always fills me with vigor. I always do love doing that. Bringing them back, supplying the front, while also spilling the blood of the enemies and saving allies by reinvigorating them back into the holy hydrocarbon. It's always a fantastic feeling. I had a blast.
I had myself a gas, if you would. It was an incredible time. The best time I've had at Foxhole, I must say. It was amazing. It was amazing to be part of such a thing, to see the awakening of the faithful, to hear the fear in our enemies' voices as they attempted to stop us from taking their wounded to the field. It was really something.
I think I missed the part where you're stealing them from their trenches. I think I logged off right then.
To see the enemy try and stop the faithful from sacrificing their wounded, and then even better to see the singular colonials who had seen the light and not just stop us from taking their wounded, but once or twice to provide us their wounded themselves. It gladdened my heart. It was an amazing time. I was glad to be there. I don't think I'll see anything like it again for quite some time.
The PressCorps is an all-volunteer creative collective of reporters, broadcasters, artists, and more from the MMO video game Foxhole, developed by Siege Camp. Our mission is to engross our audience in and amplify the stories of this unique war ecosystem. The PressCorps was founded in 2018 by former Planetside 2 Radio Free Auraxis host, CaptainInArms. It is a separate community entity and is not officially representative of Siege Camp. For more information, visit our website at PressCorpsGaming.com. That's PressCorps Gaming.com.